45,505 elective positions from presidential, MPs to sub-county councillors. This ensured representation aligns with population changes and constitutional requirements. During reorganization of polling stations, 50,739 polling stations were reorganized nationwide to improve voter access and convenience while accommodating demographic changes. Every eligible voter now has a secure and accessible polling station, and this has strengthened inclusivity and reduced logistical challenges on the polling day. The Commission also conducted a nationwide exercise for identification and mapping of persons with disabilities, and this was done from the 4th to the 13th of November 2024. National Voters Register and candidate nominations. The update and display of the National Voters Register was conducted from 20th January to 17th February 2025 across all the 10,717 parishes and wards in the country. And the total number of registered voters stands at 21,681,491. 21,681,491 voters. The nationwide display exercise was conducted between 25th April and 15th May 2025, enabling citizens to verify and confirm their details. This exercise enhanced accuracy, transparency, and public confidence in the National Voters Register. Nomination of candidates. The presidential nominations were carried out on 23rd and 24th of September 2025. 8 presidential candidates were successfully nominated for the elections as presidential candidates. The nomination of direct elected members of Parliament and district women representatives to Parliament were conducted on 22nd and 23rd October 2025 across all cities and districts in the country. A total of 2,025 candidates were nominated to contest for the 353 constituencies under the category of direct elected members of Parliament, and 640 ladies were nominated to contest for 146 elective positions under the district woman representative category. Local government nominations were conducted between 3rd and 24th September 2025 across the country. The total number of candidates nominated to contest for the various elective positions in the country in the 2026 election stands at 83,597. We have 83,597 candidates standing for various electoral offices in the country. Petitions arising from nominations have been resolved in accordance with the relevant laws, reinforcing fairness and impartiality. Maybe what I should say is that the law and the Constitution of Uganda allow candidates that have issues arising out of their nominations to present their petitions to the Electoral Commission for resolution. And we are happy to report that as of to date, these petitions at different levels have been resolved, and the decisions communicated to the petitioners, and those not satisfied have an opportunity to present petitions to the courts of law for resolution. Campaigns, stakeholder engagement, and polling preparations. Adequate campaign period was allocated for candidates to solicit votes from the electorate. The Commission issued campaign guidelines and harmonized campaign programs with the candidates or their agents as provided for in the law. The Commission continues to sensitize and educate political actors and the electorate on electoral laws and guidelines. The Commission has had regular productive collaboration with the candidates, political parties, civil society, religious leaders, traditional leaders, the media, security agencies, emphasizing the need and the importance of having a peaceful and issue-based campaigns. Polling preparations. The polling kits that include the ballot papers and declaration of result forms have been delivered to all the 146 districts and cities as of 8th January 2026. Additionally, the Commission will be conducting other parliamentary and local government council elections at various dates as summarized before. My Lord, the Chairperson has already presented the details of the roadmap of different elections for different offices up to the end in February 2026. The Commission has recruited and trained polling officials. These are presiding officials, the BVV cooperators, polling assistants, and polling constables for all the 50,739 polling stations. Production and delivery of ballot papers and declaration result forms to our district stores has been done successfully. The mandatory use of biometric voter verification kits as provided for under Statutory Instrument 98 of 2025 will be strictly enforced during polling. The BVVK facilitates accurate voter verification and ballot verification, eliminating manual errors and thus preventing multiple voting and ensuring that only duly verified voters cast their votes. This enhances accuracy, strengthens transparency, and most importantly, it upholds the fundamental democratic principle of one person, one vote. The Commission is carrying out continuous sensitization campaigns to build public confidence in the new technology that has been adopted. Election results management. Detailed procedures for polling day operations, tallying and transmission of election results to the National Tally Center and the district tally centers has been disseminated to all stakeholders. The structured tallying process is designed to enhance accuracy and public trust in the electoral process. And this has been further explained by my Lord the Chairperson. Conclusion. The 2026 General Elections Roadmap embodies the Commission's pledge to deliver a credible, inclusive, and peaceful electoral process. By adhering to the law, engaging stakeholders, and implementing robust safeguards, the Commission has positioned itself to uphold the integrity of Uganda's democracy. And distinguished participants, the emphasis of the Commission throughout the process has been that all stakeholders, all participants, including us, the Commission, we must adhere and respect the Constitution and the relevant laws governing elections in this country. The Commission appreciates the support of all stakeholders, and this includes the government, political parties, the candidates, civil society, the media, government partners, security agencies, and citizens for supporting the roadmap's implementation this far. Together, Uganda can ensure that every citizen exercises their right in the vote in a transparent and peaceful environment. Last but not least, we would like to recognize and thank the government of the Republic of Uganda for fully funding the entire roadmap from the beginning up to the end. We have not run out of funds, and all the funds have been funded by the people of this country through the government of Uganda. We wish you very well, and we hope you'll have time to move around and enjoy the beauty and the traditional welcoming people of this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Honorable Stephen Tashobya, for that overview of the roadmap and for speaking to the important point on stakeholders, and indeed in the midst of this audience representatives of political parties who are some of the major key stakeholders that the Commission works with. And Lord Chairperson and members, as Commissioner Tashobya was making the presentation, the Secretary General of the East African Community also came in, Honorable Veronica Nduva. Wherever you are, please, you can stand up for recognition. The Secretary General of the East African Community, who is here together with the East African Community Mission, Observer Mission, that is headed by Right Honorable Eda Mukabagwiza. He's also around. Welcome. The other people will continue to acknowledge and recognize you. We have IGAD, we have SADC, we have COMESA, we have sister election management bodies in the region and beyond, and our domestic and other international observers. You are all welcome. Now, the next item on the agenda is a brief from the Inspector General of Police. The Inspector General of Police, Haj Abbas Byakagaba. You're welcome, sir.
The Lord Chairperson, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stand on the protocol already established. Mine is to give a brief on the security pertaining to the election exercise that we are already in. And I would like to begin by noting that the overall security situation in the country remains stable, with security agencies maintaining firm control over public order and territorial integrity. I'll just briefly mention the mandate and legal framework of the Uganda Police Force. We are mandated by the Constitution to secure the electoral process, grounded in the Constitution of Uganda 1995, which mandates the police to preserve law and order and protect the rights of citizens. This duty is operationalized through the Police Act, Chapter 324, the Electoral Commission Act, Chapter 176, and Elections Regulations, which together provide the legal and institutional framework for enforcing the mandate of the electoral security. In fulfilling this role, the Uganda Police Force operates under clear rules of engagement, guided by the principles of proportionality, legality, accountability, neutrality, and non-discriminatory. And during this exercise, we have the following strategic security objectives. Our role is preserve nationwide peace and public order, rapidly contain electoral violence and intimidation, safeguard electoral infrastructure and digital systems, guarantee safe participation for all stakeholders, strengthen public trust and institutional legitimacy. And within this environment, we are also conscious and alive to the possible threats in as far as security is concerned, which we are prepared for. One of them is terrorism. The other one is electoral violence at rallies, polling stations, centers and other centers and the other tallying centers. The other one is incitement to violence, mis or disinformation and media propaganda, criminal activities generally, accidents and emergencies. We have a deployment strategy and seriously emphasized that the Uganda Police Force is the lead agency supported by sister security agencies. We have visible presence of uniformed security personnel, and we shall continue to have them at all the polling stations. We have interagency coordination for purposes of intelligence gathering and sharing. And we have already established rapid response and reserve forces for immediate intervention. We also have focus on hotspot areas with history of electoral tension. We continue to have community engagement and sensitization to promote peace. Then we are also involving technology into the integration for real-time monitoring and communication. Our other tasks include securing, escorting, and protection of electoral materials. We are also tasked with controlling access and perimeter security at all tally centers. And within this, we keep emphasizing the clear rules of engagement and the use of force. We are regularly documenting and reviewing incidents for accountability. That is, we have already been doing that, but we continue. And what is mainly at stake is the coming elections, which will begin on 15th. And we are also preparing for that. We are also continuing with the deployments during tallying. We shall also continue the deployments during tallying and results declaration. We shall also continue to enforce lawful management of demonstrations and disputes. And then we'll also continue to give information to the public in order to build confidence and transparency. Particularly on the polling day, the role of security is strictly preventive and non-intrusive. We are alive to the fact that ours is to provide an enabling environment so that the activity can go on. Our primary responsibility will be to secure the outer perimeter of the polling stations, protecting polling officials, voters, and electoral materials in order to ensure a safe environment. And maybe allow me to add, to protect all the people living within the general environment. Security shall also support crowd management and access control, helping voters move in and out of polling stations in an orderly manner. In the event of any breach, disturbance, or disorder, security forces shall respond promptly to restore calm and safety, with all arrests made lawfully and only when absolutely necessary in accordance with the law. Our other cardinal duty, just for emphasis, is the protection of electoral materials and results. And we are conscious that this is a critical element where the Electoral Commission is depending on us. And on our part, sensitive electoral materials shall be securely escorted from security facilities, storage facilities, to polling stations, onward to tally centers, and during any other authorized movement. We also observe that the security of tally centers is a very big priority during this exercise. Any security incident will be addressed promptly and lawfully, with full respect for the integrity of the results, while maintaining civility, neutrality, and professionalism. In the area of post-voting security, our efforts will be on stabilization of these polling areas by maintaining visible deployments until official results are announced. We are also prioritizing hotspot areas identified in pre-election threat assessment, and we shall continue to conduct joint patrols where intelligence indicates potential escalation. On the protection of electoral materials and officials, we shall secure the tally centers with layered access control protocols to ensure that those who are legally allowed to access will be able to access. We shall escort all the movement of DR forms to the tally centers to ensure that the processes are properly protected. We shall also strategically position our public order management units in case there are situations which require our intervention to keep law and order. We will continue, and we are continuing to monitor and counter misinformation and disinformation likely to cause unrests, and we continue to support legal mechanisms for dispute resolution. In conclusion, the Uganda Police Force reaffirms its unwavering commitment to ensuring peaceful and secure environment for elections. We therefore call for continued collaboration and vigilance from all stakeholders to safeguard the integrity of the electoral process and to strengthen public confidence in democracy. And we are determined, working together with all stakeholders, to exercise civility and responsibility. The Uganda Police Force appreciates the vital role of the election observers and other stakeholders in promoting transparency and accountability. We wish you a successful engagement in this very critical activity in our democracy. Hopefully, after the elections, you will spare time to explore the beauty of the Pearl of Africa. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Inspector General of Police of Uganda, for the reassurance on security and for the continued support the Uganda Police Force is providing to the entire electoral process. We appreciate that, and for the assurances of everybody here and beyond and across the country that everybody, every facility will be safe now, on polling day, and after. We thank you very much. In the audience, we have a cross-section of observers. We have domestic or local observers who form the bulk of the audience here. We want to appreciate our observers from the country who have continued and worked with the Commission from the start of the roadmap to date and going forward. We appreciate you very much. We also have, as I had mentioned earlier, observer groups from international organizations. For instance, IGAD, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, is led by Commander Abebe Murune. You're welcome. We have the Forum of Parliamentarians from the International Conference on Great Lakes region, who are also present here, led by the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Moses Moyo from Zambia. You're welcome. We have from the different diplomatic corps missions in Uganda, and they are all here. So you are all very welcome to this briefing. The next component is going to be led by Commissioner Honorable Anthony Okero. Commissioner Honorable Anthony Okero, you're welcome to lead us in the plenary, which he will guide on the procedure for its conduct. Commissioner, you're welcome.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I adopt the protocol already established, and I wish to thank you all for your attentive participation in the presentations on the 2026 general elections. We shall now proceed to the plenary session, which is intended to provide an opportunity for clarification, constructive engagement, and shared understanding. The purpose of this plenary session, ladies and gentlemen, is not a debate, but to seek clarifications, share observations, and ensure that stakeholders have a common understanding of the electoral process and their respective roles. And to guide this session effectively, I kindly request that all contributions be brief, focused, and relevant to the issues presented to allow room for broad participation. As you may recall, we have heard keynote address from Lord Chair. We have heard highlights to the general election roadmap. We have also heard security for the 2026 general election paper presented. So I request us to be focused. Please identify yourself and the organization you represent before speaking, and direct your questions to a specific presentation or institution where possible. I will take 5 questions at a time, after which the presenters will then respond. And I wish to encourage all participants to engage respectfully and in the spirit of cooperation. And in the process, I ask all of us to remember our shared goal, which is a credible, peaceful, and transparent 2026 general elections. All observers, national and international, are encouraged to raise questions. Let me ask my team to be alert with the microphones, and you are free to raise whatever issue you would like to raise. We can start now. Raise up your hand and I'll pick you over there.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Commission, for the briefing. I have 2 questions. The first one regards the issue of disaggregated data. In our analysis and assessment of elections, we also want to know how many women are participating in the elections as candidates for all the levels, and also how many youth and persons with disabilities. We couldn't find this information on your website. And then the other question is regarding the voters' roll. We want also to know whether the voters' roll will be posted outside polling stations on election day. And if you can also have disaggregated data at polling station level, how many women and men are also registered at that particular polling station. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You may not be having necessarily a question, but probably a comment. Feel free to raise that. Yes, please. Yes, please. I've seen you.
Thank you very much. My name is Kamad Bionabie. I am the Director of Research, Education and Documentation at the Uganda Human Rights Commission. And I've been a domestic observer for the last 5 or so electoral periods. Now, my comment or concern goes to the keynote address delivered by the Lord Chair, and in particular on voting procedures. We have observed over the years many invalid votes, and it is painful for people to come and vote, then at the end of the day, you have invalid votes, which are sometimes even bigger than some of the candidates that go through. I will specifically mention in the last election at Bati Valley Primary School here in Kampala, a vote was invalidated because the voter used a red pen, but his intention was clear. My prayer is we still have time to devote more efforts on ensuring that we mitigate there would be many invalid votes in this particular election. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Next. Over here, please. There's a hand up there, and then we shall have that. Let's start with the person over there. Yes, please.
Protocol observed. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to ask a question. I want to mark the different individuals who are present here, that you should be aware that we do have youth with disability who will be part of this observation, election observation activities. And we should also try to put into place that inclusivity is there by including sign language interpreters during the exercise. My name is Imalingat Deo. I'm from Show Abilities Uganda, the umbrella organization for youth with disability. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have the lady over there.
Thank you, everyone. I am Farida Lule, Executive Director, Ushahidi Foundation, Uganda, and a voter educator, fully accredited by the Commission. My worry is on I did not hear the Commission speak about the list of denominated candidates. Are they going to appear on the ballot paper? And if they are going to appear, don't you think this is going to confuse the voters? Because most voters will come thinking that their candidates are still on the ballot paper. And I know that some will also be on the ballot paper. So how are you going to handle that confusion? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The fifth one. Yes, please.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Tarimo Albert. I come from Kabali. I lead a team at Local Sustainable Communities Organization. My question goes to the IGP. We've recently witnessed the increasing number of numberless vehicles in the region, some belonging to candidates, others unidentified. What measures are being put in place to avert those? Because they are recklessly driving on public roads and causing accidents and loss of lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lord Chair, I think we can take on these 5. Then we shall come back.
Thank you, Commissioner Anthony, and our distinguished participants for the questions you have raised, or comments. I'll start with Farida's question. On the candidates, nominated candidates, who have been denominated or who have willingly withdrawn from the race. The focus is on the nominated candidates, but there are those who have voluntarily withdrawn from the race and notified the Commission as the law permits. And yet, the ballot papers are already out, they're being printed. The law provides that where such a scenario occurs, then the Commission must ensure the voters are adequately notified at the polling station. First of all, we put up a notice at every polling station indicating that candidate so and so has withdrawn from the race or has been denominated, is no longer a candidate. And therefore, don't give your vote to that candidate. That is one measure. The other one is, which I've also seen in practice during by-elections, the presiding officer, when he or she is handing over the ballot paper to the voter, also adds his or her voice, that candidate so-and-so is no longer in this race. So don't cast or give him or her your vote. It will be a wasted vote. So those are the two measures we apply. I don't know whether we also do radio announcements. Do we? No, we don't. The issue is to inform or to notify the voters in that electoral area where the candidate was nominated to contest. So a notice at the polling station, and then a word or a caution by the presiding officer as to the voters. There's, I think we are always cautious on the role, the accessibility by persons with disabilities to polling stations and their involvement in electoral processes. We are always cautious of that. And that's why I think the law provides for specific or special elections for persons with disabilities. And as a commission, we endeavor as much as possible to include these people in our programs, in our processes, and in whatever we do. Now, invalid votes. Indeed, as Mr. Bionabye from the Uganda Human Rights Commission has observed, this is a matter of great concern to us. As he has said, you find the number of invalid votes are far more or higher than what some candidates even score as valid votes. Now, in this, there are two things. One, there are some people who deliberately render their vote invalid because the law says there are two recognized marks of voting, either tick or a thumbprint. But someone gets a ballot paper and writes, "My man," "our man," and this is an informed fellow. He's literate. He's writing "our man," "our woman," or he ticks the candidate of his or her choice, then puts a cross on the others. So he knew what he was doing, but others, they get a ballot paper, put it in without even putting a mark. It's deliberate. All these are deliberate or intentional processes. But in this training, we have also emphasized in the training of our polling officials, particularly the presiding officers, we have emphasized the aspect of when in law does a vote or a ballot become invalid. There are on occasions where the voter puts the tick or the thumbprint in the box bearing the photograph or the picture of the candidate, or the symbol, or the name, and not in the designated box where the tick is supposed to be. And some presiding officers, we understand, have been declaring this invalid. And yet the law is very clear that a vote is not invalid for reason on account of the mark not being placed in the prescribed area or space. If the person, the voter, puts the mark or the thumbprint on the picture of the candidate, or the symbol, or the name, the law says the intention of the voter can clearly be discerned that he or she intended to vote for this candidate. It's not invalid. So the aspect, the emphasis on training, I've talked to my field officers, and they have told me, they have emphasized this aspect, that they should not render or declare a ballot paper invalid simply because the person did not put the mark in the designated space. But also, from what we have observed, because as I said, my colleagues and I, during by-elections, we've been in the field. The crowd of people around seem to overwhelm at times the officials managing the process of counting. Our process here is so transparent. I don't know whether it happens in other countries. The presiding officer gets a ballot paper and shows it to everybody. Then the people around, they shout, oh, that is invalid, in a local language. Kafu. Kafu, invalid. Now, because it is a crowd, the raucous is so high, at times the presiding officer gets it. I was there, I was around one time. I think I was at one of the polling stations in one of the by-elections somewhere. It was a rural constituency. I happened to be around during counting. The voter had placed the tick outside the margin of the box where the tick should be. This is the box where the tick should be. The tick was outside the box. The crowd shouted, Kafu! I said, even though it is placed outside the box, but you can see it is within the line of the box, but outside the box. So really, the intention can be discerned. So, but that's when the presiding officer gained some courage and said, oh yes. But the noise, the voices of the people around had intimidated him. So that's why we are saying we need to have some kind of control on who should be around the polling station, shouldn't. That's why we are saying, and we have tried to explain this. When we say, I think it is better for people when they have voted, although the law allows them to keep around, first give space for other voters to come. Leave a peaceful process to take place. You start, just leave. Because the issue of invalid votes is not because all of them are actually invalid. So we have emphasized that point in our training programs, that the law provides as long as the intention of the voter can be understood or discerned, even though the mark is not placed in the right space or box, that is not an invalid box. Thank you, Mr. Bionabie. We shall again emphasize it over these remaining few days so that on 15th, the presiding officer, should be in position to distinguish between what is actually invalid vote. The only invalid vote is where the tick crosses from one box to another. That is clearly invalid. From one box of this candidate to another box, that is invalid. Or the thumbprint somehow crosses from one box to another. Then you can't tell the intention of the voter. Was he voting for this candidate, the one below, or the one up? That one is different. Now, the register, the voters register, the law provides that every candidate or political party which has presented candidates be given the polling register. And this polling register, the candidate or the party is supposed to produce more copies or photocopy the register relevant for that particular polling station and give their agents a copy of the register for that polling station to enable the agents in the process of identifying and verifying voters to do so. The other polling register is with the presiding officer who has it at that table, and in the event that the voter has not come with the national ID or voter location slip, which have a barcode, which is supposed to be scanned by this kit or machine, but the person is a registered voter. he's on the manual of physical register. They can now go to the manual register, look for his particulars or her particulars, then go to the BVVK once he or she has been confirmed to be on that polling station. So the register, we have it displayed or open. It is with the agents and it is with the presiding officer. And we want to encourage all agents, please, can you avail, candidates and political parties, avail your agents at polling stations with copies of the register. And secondly, or distinguished guests, the Electoral Commission offers to train candidates' agents for free. When we are training our other polling officials, we also train the agents of the candidates on the modalities, on the going zone at the polling station. Because at times some of these agents report on account of not being conversant or acquainted with what goes on at a polling station. Now, I regret that we did not carry the disaggregated data, but I can say generally, I think in terms of percentage, the female voters at 51% and the male voters at about 49%. The female voters are far more than the male voters, but I think by about 1 million, isn't it? By about 1 million. But we shall avail you the disaggregated data between now and polling day. We have it, only that we forgot to carry it with us here to the commission. I think those are the questions so far. Is there any question I've not answered? Thank you. Commissioner Anthony? Oh, Afande.
Yes. That's it, Lord Chair.
Numberless vehicles. No, Afande has one question to answer. Numberless vehicles.
Yes.
I don't know whether the traffic rules permit those ones also.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Chairperson. And thank you, Albert from Kawale, for that observation. I think in passing, the chairperson has partially answered this. This contravenes the traffic laws and regulations of this country. But as you realize, the situation during campaigns and elections has its own dynamics. And perhaps on our part, I could say some level of restraint was exhibited, but that's not allowed. And it's good that we are seriously identifying this as an issue. We shall have more efforts and processes to ensure that this does not occur, because eventually it could also bring us some other unwanted situations where you can't properly identify the motor vehicles concerned. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lord Chair and Inspector General of Police, for those clear responses. Let us now take another round from participants. It may be a question, it might be a comment on any issue for which you need some clarification. I can see about 3 hands that side. We can have those 3, and then we shall have this one. The person here will be the 4th, and we shall get the 5th person. Let's have all those 3.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name's Bale Alan, Friends of Uganda Director. We recommend for the work well done by Electoral Commission and its participation towards the development of Uganda. Mine is about the biometric machine kit. We are just inquiring, in case of any failure of the biometric machine, how can we overcome that during the process? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, of the 3 I picked earlier.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. My name is John Mark Tamale from Intellectual Aid Network, Uganda. Mine is about observation. Observation versus security at the polling station. Because there are so many security agencies, as the Inspector General mentioned earlier, that they will join together to control security and the other issues. But again, here is an observer who has come also to do the observation. Will the security agencies, both in uniform and in layer, be able to recognize and identify clearly? Identification can be okay because of the tag, but recognition of the observer so that he can do his work better. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3. There's a hand behind you. Yeah. I see a hand here. All right, let's have that person.
Thank you so much. My name is Knight Bonifacio from Show Abilities, Uganda. I'm hard of hearing. So I was imagining we have some voters who are missing the thumbprint, the stamp. They have no fingers, they are missing. And we know the biometric machine requires you to press your thumbprint. So in case these such voters appears, what is the option? Because this happened in the previous elections. They were missing out because they were missing out, they didn't have the thumbprint. So we want to know, is there an option so that we can update them? And are the officers well equipped on how to do that?
Thank
you.
Point made. Yeah, the gentleman in maroon.
My name is Isaac Ranga, and I work with Figures and Accountability, Hotel Africana. May I ask the Electoral Commission of Uganda a different sort of question? Will you publish in advance a duty of care standard for election operations, clear instructions that prioritize de-escalation and lawful crowd management at polling and tally centers, and then publish afterwards a brief public report showing how incidents are handled, and I'll say it again, handled, and what was changed when things went wrong.
Thank you, Isaac. Number 5. Bring the microphone here, please.
You had given me the opportunity.
Bring it here, I'll get back to you. We shall have another round. Yes, please proceed. Take the microphone.
I thank you, Mr. Coordinator, Mr. Commissioner. My question is going to the IGP. When he was giving his speech, he affirmed that there is going to be joint security operations. The Constitution gives Article 1. It gives powers to the Ugandans to take a decision on how they should be governed. It is explicit and absolute. So, Mr. Igit, my question is, given that the Constitution, there is a constitutional guarantee of free and fair elections, how does the police reconcile the presence of the armed military personnel at or around the polling areas with the need to protect freedom of the ordinary voter from intimidation and due influence such that the free will is exhibited? We have an environment that is not intimidating an ordinary voter. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Lord Chair, these are 5 interventions. I kindly invite you to make responses.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think the next round of questions starts with the Friends of Uganda. In the case of failure of the biometric kit, what happens? Now, in our planning, of course, we were cognizant of the fact that a machine is a machine. It can develop any problems anytime, which were not foreseen. And that's why we have provided for 2 kits per polling station. One, they are not going to be used concurrently, but rather one will be on standby, just in the event the one which is running develops or malfunctions or develops issues. That is one. Secondly, we shall also have our technical teams at every sub-county who are called, or we refer to them as troubleshooters. These are IT people who will be in position to respond to any report that both kits have failed. We don't anticipate both kits to really fail, but in the event that happens, we shall have our technical teams, the troubleshooters, at every sub-county to respond to issues concerning the functionality of the kits in that sub-county. So that is one of the measures. But we have 2 kits. And the batteries were manufactured to run for about 15 to 17 hours. We also have power banks to back up these batteries in the event they run low on power. Now, John Makatamale, an observer. Well, if an observer has been properly accredited and issued a tag by the Electoral Commission, we expect every member of the security agencies to recognize that. To recognize that this person or this individual has gone through a due lawful process accounting for his or her presence at this polling station as evidenced or proved by the tag issued by the Electoral Commission. So I think the IGP is here. I believe this point was raised in your I think you were around, you absent, I don't know, you had stepped out. Okay. I think you also say something about this. Our security forces or personnel who are going to be deployed at these polling stations will have to be sensitized strictly. I always say, as a commission, we say, when you are enforcing the law, you must make sure you are not breaking the law. Show abilities. In this, what if a voter does not have, is an amputee, no hands and therefore no fingers? The other day during the hearing of the petitions, I think there was one lady who came with she was a leper, no fingers, but was said to have signed a form or something like that. Now this one goes to a polling station. We have said this system is different from the one we used in 2021. 2021, the system could only confirm or identify voter using the fingerprints. This one has the facial feature for facial. They will take the photo, the picture of that voter using the camera. Even if one is visually impaired or blind, the person has a face. They want to believe each one of us has a face, whether you are visually impaired, whether you are what, you must have a face. So if the fingerprints cannot read, then the facial will address that shortcoming. So that should not be a problem. Then the other issue was on Isaac. I don't know whether I understood you, I must confess. To advance the duty of care. Yes, we owe a duty of care to all our voters. And that's why we go out of our way, because the power of the peace citizens under Articles 1 is sacrosanct. It must be guarded, it must be protected. The voters must be enabled to approach the polling station without any fear, without any intimidation, without any obstruction or hindrance, and cast their votes. That's why we are coming out strong on this business of people keeping around the polling station when they have cast their votes for 6 hours, 7 hours. You know, from experience, we have seen they create an intimidating environment in some cases. One voter told me, I've been telling this story, in 2021, he was told that polling station you are going to vote from, there is chaos. Some people, some young people are on the road. When they see you and they perceive you are not going to vote for the candidate they support, they create an intimidating environment and threaten you. So this voter said, if that be the case, I better go defensive. So he got a hammer, a real hammer, metallic, put it in his jacket, and went to the polling station. When they tried to confront him, he said, before you kill me, I will die with one of you. He pulled out the hammer. And that's when I think they gave up. Now, we want to avoid all these kind of scenarios. Some people are easily put off by any semblance of chaos or intimidation. The women, the persons with disabilities, the elderly, they are put off by all this. So that's why we are saying, let us create space for every eligible voter to come and cast his or her vote. Let us be respectful of other people's rights. Don't block the roads. In any case, some of these polling stations are so, you will see your distinguished observers. Some of these polling stations, especially in Kampala or some urban areas, are in congested areas, squeezed areas, to the extent that even observing the 20-meter rule may not be realized. And mind you, in Uganda, our booth is open. We don't have closed booth when we are polling. Our booth is an open basin, in open space. Now, and that is the booth where the person is supposed to exercise his sovereign power by voting for a candidate of his choice in secret. Now, the people who are standing, if people cannot observe the 20-meter, they will just observe this. So this one is voting. I can see he's going for the last person on the list, on the ballot paper. We can tell that, okay, we know. So we are saying to safeguard the sanctity of a secret ballot, to avoid unnecessary tension and commotion at the polling station. Mind you, these supporters, these people are supporting different candidates. They are supporting different candidates. And many of them are so animated about their candidates. They are so worked up by their candidates. They are so supportive of their candidates. They don't want anything to stand in their way or the way of their candidate winning this election. You put these people in one location for 5 hours, 6 hours. Who will contain the situation? I think even Afandes, people might get overwhelmed in that situation. Because we are talking of 50,739 polling stations. All of them running at the same time. And each polling station has on average 600 voters. Some polling stations are what we call polling centers, which were split from, say, voters whose names are in this alphabetical A to M, one polling station here. Another one about 5 meters away. Another one about 10 meters away. They are all in one location. If you have about 4 of those, or 5 polling stations in one center, those are about 3,000 voters. You tell 3,000 voters to remain within a radius of 20 meters from the polling station, 3,000 from morning to evening or to counting time of votes, and you expect them to remain organized, orderly, tranquil, civil. So we must create an environment that allows all voters to come and cast their vote. So, Isaac, the duty of care is to give assurance to all voters, come and cast your vote. Secondly, we are going to, unfortunately, we have not come with the toll-free lines. We are going to give the public toll-free lines on which there will be, we shall have a call center which will be manned by the commission and other members and other people, other agencies. These toll-free lines are to allow or to enable voters to call and report any incident in their polling station or area, so that prompt and swift response can be organized. But by the time, at times when the response mechanisms are actuated, the harm is already done. We have gone to polling stations by elections. By the time the chairman gets there, they have already destroyed the box. They have already torn the ballot papers. So we want to, as a mitigating measure, we want to ensure that our elections are as peaceful as possible. Mind you, it's not everybody who is as good intentioned as the people who speak out against some of these things. No. How will they be handled? Well, we have, look, a crime remains a crime. And our electoral laws are full of conduct that amounts to crime during the elections. And we appeal to the citizens, to the people, to report any conduct that is tantamount or that amounts to commission of a crime, so that the perpetrators can be brought to book by the law agencies. So that is one of the things we must deal with, the people who perpetuate these crimes or offenses during our electoral processes. And I think you raised something, somebody raised the issue of the environment that is not intimidating to an ordinary voter. And let me tell you, this is largely created. This environment of intimidation, fear, harassment is not created by any other person, but our people, either who are supporters or who are voters, who hang around this polling station after they have cast their vote for many hours. So that's why we say it is not for ill or ulterior motives the commission is proposing or urging people create room for others to come and vote. You can, the agents for the candidates are there. The agents for the candidates are there, and according to the law, their role is to safeguard the interests of the candidate or candidates at that polling station. We have 8 presidential candidates. Those are already 16 agents inside the polling station, lawfully mandated in law to be inside the polling station. We have, in many areas, we have not less than 5 parliamentary candidates, or even 10. In Kampala, I'm told some of them have 20 parliamentary candidates. Those are already 40 agents, plus 16 agents for presidential candidates. Those are already 16 vote protectors, safeguarders, and so on and so forth. So, for goodness sake, to avoid these unforeseen circumstances or unforeseen developments or scenarios of chaos erupting, it happened in 2021. I was telling the excellencies, the ambassadors the other day, that in 2021, there were some polling stations whose results we could not declare. Why? The people around, see, Ugandans, not foreigners, Ugandans who had kept around, they developed misunderstandings, they started quarreling, they fought, they beat one another, chaos spilled over to the polling station, they destroyed the ballot boxes and everything, and the results from that polling station could not be declared. Imagine the voters at that polling station, the law-abiding citizens, they had left their homes, they had gone to these polling stations, they had cast their vote in the assurance that their votes would be taken into account. But because some people have other motives or whatever it is, They came and destroyed. We could not declare those. Why do we want to wait for that kind of situation? Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've answered those questions also.
Thank you very much once again. I think I'm lucky this morning. Most of the inquiries being helped by the Lord Chairperson, and therefore mine is basically to emphasize. The other issue was, will the observers be identified by the security? The answer is yes. As explained by the chair, they have been accredited, and we shall only have to emphasize to our people. The only thing is the other emphasis will be sure that they are the observers, so that we don't have intrusions by people who may want to disorganize our activities. Maybe I need to explain also on the issue of interagency, which I mentioned. If you recall, I first started with informing all of us that the security situation is normal in this country, and this is courtesy by the police, supported by other security agencies. But we as the police, we are very cognizant of the fact that the role of protecting the operations, of providing the basic security for the electoral process is with us. But we cannot do this in isolation of other general security concerns, and that's why we are a lead agency. Like, you will not expect to see other agencies at the polling station, inside the polling station, because we have prepared for that. You will see either a polling constable, and the constable is a police officer, and another police officer, and another police officer, where we shall be found wanting. Maybe you'll have a prisons warder. That's the assurance I'm giving. But also, I also want to add that the presence of other sister forces outside the other spaces should be an assurance to all our people that there is security around, led by the Uganda Police Force. I hope this one is taken clear. I mean, is properly explained by me, because it is important that as we look at the security of the elections, the electoral process, we must also look at the security of the country, and also the security of other activities apart from elections. Those activities collocate. We don't put them in abeyance. And from my presentation, I'd like to recall that I also mentioned about other threats that could easily come in and disorganize our electoral process. I thank you very much. But finally, I would like to say the presence of security should give us more confidence and assure us of security all the time. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lord Chair and Inspector General of Police, for those clarifications. All observers will receive detailed information book in the pack that you are going to receive from the Secretariat. We have a free toll call center that is indicated there. We also have a chargeable line, which is not free toll, but they are both indicated in the pack that you will receive from the Secretariat. I also wish to state that this activity was scheduled for 1 hour. We are now 45 minutes into the activity. We are coming towards the closure, and in the interest of time, I'm going to take only one more round of 5 people, and then we shall have the interventions, and we shall end this activity. So let me have the 2. I can see 2 hands behind there. Then I can have 1 hand here and 2 there. Let's pick 2 from behind. There are quite a number of hands up, but we shall have only 2. Then 1 here, then 2 here. So we can begin.
Okay, thank you. I'm by the name Zindaula Bakari from Intellectual Aid Network. My question goes to the chair. As you have said that it's not good for the people to hang around after elections. But I would like to inform you that even though they have agents, when the election reaches to a stiff time, some agents are always abducted by the security. I don't know whether you are very aware of that. There are agents abducted, taken off from the electoral centers, and then the counting you are making like that, there are like 10 MPs with more than 40 agents. Then it loses the meaning. Secondly, I heard that those ballots are going to be passed through the machines to prove the originality. My question goes to the DRF form. That transports the results to the collection center of the results. Is it also first approved that's the original DRF form, or it can be any paper of any kind? Thank you.
Point made. Thank you very much. The second hand. Please pass the microphone. No, not you, please. I'm seeing a hand up there. Pass the microphone to the hand up there. Yes, yes, exactly. There's that hand. The hand. All right.
Yes, thank you, sir, for that. My name is Mpaji Wilson Praise from Rise Women of Valor Ministries. And our core value is to keep our communities safe, especially on gender-based violence. So my question is, there are some, there are polling assistants and presiding officers in the election. And some of these are young women, some of them are older women, but when we do the tallying of the votes and counting, the process ends a little bit late. And we want to know the safety of these women as they go back, because some of our areas are in the very remote places and they are not safe to travel alone in the night. So how safe are our women from that? Because remember, they have already taken time and they are intimidated, whether they are favoring someone or not. So how well are they protected?
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a hand near the camera, the hand which is up there. Let me use my prerogative to give him an opportunity. Yes, please.
Thank you. My name's Mwenye Hashim from Society for Peace and Development Political Party. Mine goes to the chairman. He has narrated how the law allowing people at the polling station keeping a distance of 20 meters. That somehow, even if it is the law, but it is very disturbing. He narrates that in 2001, things were not good. He's also, 2021, yes. And then he fears that the same thing is likely to happen in this coming election. I'm trying to advise him that let him take this to Parliament so that the Parliament can create a law which can say, after voting, let people keep a distance of 1 kilometer. Better than him here narrating and lamenting, breaking the law, and he has taken a lot of time on that. So let's expect that during these 5 years, table this to Parliament so that a law can be put in place. Thank you.
Point made. We can have the person here. Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Namatavampiga from the National Consultative Forum of Political Parties and Organizations in Uganda. We have witnessed a lot of brutality unleashed against opposition supporters during the ending campaigns, and also brutality unleashed against journalists as they tried to cover what was happening. I wish you assurances given to all the ladies and gentlemen that have been accredited as international observers that they will not face similar incidences. In case, for example, Ugandans choose not to leave polling stations after they cast their vote, but remain within the required 20 meters distance. What will happen? Are they assured of protection? I want and I wish the leaders here to give our guests assurance that they will be safe and they will have a safe working environment.
Thank you very much. I saw 2 hands this side earlier. The other one over there. Yes, please.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. When we are observing, there is always in the checklist something to do with the presence of campaign materials on the campaign within the polling area. In the previous election, such instances happened. You go to a polling station and the campaign materials are all over, even during the Kawempe by-election. My question is, who is responsible for removing those campaign materials or campaign posters, and have mechanisms been put in place to ensure that this time around we don't have them in the at the polling stations? Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Alex Bukumune. I work with the Uganda Human Rights Commission.
All right. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, moderator. My name is Omara Apita. I'm a commissioner at the Uganda Human Rights Commission. First of all, I would like to thank the Electoral Commission, through the chair, for walking this long journey of preparing for the 2026 elections, working with many different stakeholders and partners, including with the Uganda Human Rights Commission. The Uganda Human Rights Commission will be deploying 121 observers across the country. And they will be deployed out of our regional offices, 12 of them which are in the country. Maybe for the information of others, the 12 regional offices, if I can mention them quickly, Arua, Gulu, Lira, Soroti, Jinja, Masaka, Kabale, Fort Portal, Hoima, I think the Moroto. So we will be having these 121 observers also out there. Now, our question is, how many polling officials will run the elections? And how many polling officials do we expect per polling station? This is what we just wanted to know. I wish to thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lord Chair. These are 6 issues that have been raised by participants. But Lord Chair, due to public demand, allow me pick 2 more, and I'll invite you to intervene. You can see the hands that are they are overwhelming. But let me pick the gentleman who stood up without permission to make his comments.
Thank you very much. My professor told me in life we don't get what we deserve, we get what we struggle for. That's why I stood up. I've got one question with 3 parts. One is I have taken part in my name is Kennedy Mutenyo from the Democratic Party, the second longest surviving political party in Africa after the ANC. And I've participated in about 7 elections. Thank you very much, Commission. I was watching TV yesterday and I saw one of your officials in church explaining that when a voter comes, he will get 3 ballots at the same time. Now, from my experience, even if you did nothing, a good number of Ugandans always complain you want to cheat, even before you do anything. So, what happens, because I experienced it in Mbarara myself, you give 3 ballot papers, and this voter walks. If he finds the ballot of the woman MP in the president's box, and then the president's ballot box in the area MP, how you need more explanation on this, because they will think you are cheating. 2, I hope my question is clear. 2, I'm not from the media, but I want to speak on behalf of the media. Some authorities, legislative authorities, have started dictating to the media what to inform us. We will not be on Entebbe Road at your Tally Center, so we are going to rely on media houses. I would want to hear from the Commission what the media can publish and what they cannot, not another legislative authority. 3rd and final is on security, both for you, the commissioners, and we, the voters. I'll not mention the name. I was an agent in Kawempe by-election. One of your commissioners seated right there was almost manhandled by some thugs and ordered to leave the polling station. Are your officials safe? Are we safe? If a rascal comes and tries to handle an election official, what happens? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't know whether we have a lady amongst the hands that are up.
There is one here, we can create others.
Thank you for honoring me.
Yes, please.
I'm Hainza Rose from Patriotism Uganda. I want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, Electoral Commission, and the Inspector of Inspector of our police, Uganda. My concern still goes to the where the Mr. Chairman Electoral Commission said that we have agents, each candidate has agents, and we, the observers, are there, and some other people. I would request that at least give us a minimum number that should stay at the polling station at a go. Because my worry is if people come and hang around the polling station, we are going to get riots. And the elderly, the PWDs, and the women will not go for voting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lord Chair. Finally, let's conclude with the voice of a lady again. A lady over here. Finally, please. We have to bring this to a close.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. My name is Ruth Makuthu from IEBC Kenya, one of the sister EMBs. I have 3 questions, and one is tied to what the gentleman spoke about. My question was about stray ballots. You will be issuing 3 ballots. So what happens to the ballots that are found in the wrong ballot box? Will they be rejected, or what will happen? The other question that I didn't hear my Lord, the Chair, speak to is about assisted voters. Do we have assisted voters in Uganda, and how are their voting handled? Then the last question is on, or rather clarification, was on campaigns. When does the campaign period end? And part 2 of that question is, how does the Commission monitor and audit campaign financing for the elections? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I think those are the issues that came from participants. But Lord Chair, let me add you 2, which are written and sent here. On validity of votes, invalidation, on the TV announcements, the intention of the voter is not being addressed. Please address. That is one concern that has come. The second one is on the dress code. If I dress in a national flag, color, advise, or if I come with a national flag, please guide on the implications. Lord Chair, I wish to take this opportunity to invite you to come and make responses. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Where are those questions? Thank you very much, Commissioner, and I want to thank you, our distinguished guests, for your patience. Thank you so, so much. It shows that you are really keenly interested in the electoral affairs of this country. I've not seen any of the invited guests getting up, even though we, the hosts, have been moving up and down, but thank you so much. Now, I will start with the last question, because it might prove a bit contentious. Dress code on polling day. I will start by reading the law. Beg your indulgence. Section 47 of the Presidential Elections Act. It says, in subsection 2, a person shall not, while in a polling station, display on his or her person any emblem, ensign, badge, label, ribbon, flag, banner, card, or device as a badge intended, mark the words, or likely to be taken as intended to distinguish the wearer as a supporter of any candidate. That's the law. Anything, any dress, any object, any banner, candidate's portrait, any flag that might be taken as intended to distinguish you as supporting a particular candidate is prohibited. Now, the issue of the national flag. The national flag is the national flag. But we also know, those of us who have been here during the campaigns, that some candidates have used the national flag as a campaign symbol wherever they have gone. They have used it as a campaign symbol wherever they have gone. Now, the law says that anything, and it does not distinguish, when the law talks of a flag, does not distinguish between a national flag or a party flag or any flag. It says anything, any flag that might be taken as intended to distinguish you as a supporter of a particular candidate is prohibited at a polling station. Party colors, because our parties have their designated and approved colors. Any attire of your party color, you should leave it at home. Put on ordinary attire. Candidates' portraits or attires, please leave them at home. That's what the law says. And we want Ugandans, if you want to have peaceful, credible, free and fair election, observe and respect the law. It is here in the Presidential Elections Act, very well spelled out. It also goes with the campaign posters or paraphernalia hanging at a polling station where, because maybe a polling station is next to buildings and the walls of the buildings have been plastered during campaigns with the posters of the candidates. Now that this is a polling station, they are supposed to be removed or plucked down by, I think, the Electoral Commission. Ordinarily, you are not supposed to destroy or deface or remove the campaign poster of a candidate, ordinarily, during campaigns. But once campaigns have closed, and this area is now a polling station, all such paraphernalia should be pulled down. And I think, thank you for raising that question. Commissioners, we should emphasize to our staff that any campaign paraphernalia should be pulled down from polling stations. The polling station should be devoid of any candidate's portrait or symbol of a political party, and so on and so forth. Those should now remain on the ballot papers, which the candidates, which the support or the voters are going to be issued with. Now, I will start with a question from our sister from across, Ruth. When does campaign period end? The law says campaigns shall end 48 hours to polling. 48 hours to polling. So we expect campaigns to end tomorrow at midnight. Campaigns should, but for rallies, the law, the guidelines say, even the law actually, it is in the law, for those holding rallies, mass rallies, the rallies will end at 6, as they have been doing, 6 p.m. But maybe radio programs, maybe a candidate may have booked airtime or something like that. In the evening, when most listeners or viewers are at home, but essentially 48 hours to polling, that's when campaigns stop. Ruth, unfortunately, the Electoral Commission does not monitor campaign financing in Uganda. It is free for all. The more money you have, you go. We tried National Consultative Forum endeavored in 2020 to introduce an amendment in the law to cap campaign or political financing. Money, I don't know whether it happens, Your Excellency, I don't know whether it happens also in Nigeria, but in Uganda, the issue of money has really become endemic in our elections. The use of huge sums of money has become a problem, a challenge.